Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. We have got authors from all over the globe. So, yay, I'm so excited. I'm just double checking to make sure we're live, and we are. Yeah, good morning, Dr. G. We are so excited to be launching this beautiful book. Gotta show it. It's right here with all these amazing authors, which you guys are going to get to know today. I'm so excited. And yeah, Dr. G, I remember when we had the first conversation about Triumphant, and you met with Dr. Pamela and I, and we talked about this anthology, but you shared with us your vision and the fact that this wasn't just going to be about the book. The book was just a piece. And the more that we've gotten going in this project, the better it's gotten. And I know your excitement over it has gotten even more huge. Not that that's a word, but but every time we meet, you just glow because you are so excited and there's always something new going on. And I know there's a lot that the authors don't even know yet. And, but this is not just about a book. This is about a movement. And, you know, we have the book today, and you've got summits and you've got speaking opportunities for these authors. And this is just going to be something that grows and grows and grows over the next years. And I am so excited. So I would like you to share with everybody that's watching the live just a smidge of your excitement and share with them what Triumphant, the book, but also the movement is about.
Yes, absolutely. And I am very excited. Triumphant started off, well, let's just get to the beginning of the roots. I tend to get connected with people who want to share stories. They've been through some life-changing events. They've overcome a lot of obstacles, some very powerful stories, some motivational stories, inspirational stories. And they just never really knew how to get on the right platforms to share their stories. And it was always a difficult thing for me going through my journey as well. And I was like, man, I want these platforms. I want to be able to do what I felt like I was called to do. But none of the other platforms that I was being introduced to really was in alignment with where I wanted to go. And so I was always under this impression that, hey, if you can't find it, build it and just create your own. So I started tossing around this idea of Triumphant. And that's when I reached out to you and Pamela, Dr. Pamela. And this is my idea, right? I want to be able to bring people who want to write books or speak on stages. I want to bring them together, give them some mentoring from people on how do you do this? How do you become successful for this? And so Triumphant started to just unfold through speaking with you and Dr. Pamela going, okay, well, let's do this book. Let's start there. And we can help people define, refine, whatever that looks like, their story. And we can do it in the written form. So there's a platform there where you can begin to share your story. And so that was our first mentoring session. And then we started getting into speaking, and we had mentoring sessions on speaking and so on and so forth. And so the speaking is, taking what you've written and let's put this into the spoken word and other platforms that you can talk on. So Triumphant really is just elevating people to share their stories on multiple platforms. And why is that a movement? Well, they're moving, I said, they're elevating. They're going from one belief system to the next belief system. And the more they believe in who they are and sharing these stories, the more impactful that story becomes. And then if one story of triumph can, be the I said this yesterday on Facebook, if one story can be a catalyst for someone else's story, then imagine what a whole book or a whole group of people sharing these stories of triumph can be. And so that's where the movement becomes, because now giving people, I always like to say, giving them permission, because then when they see that this person does it and they've gone through all this, hey, I can do it too. So it gives them permission to actually go through and share their stories as well. So that's really what Triumphant is all about, where one triumph just spawns another, and it just keeps going and going and going.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I'm going to bring Dr. Pamela in. She doesn't know that, but hello, love. And I'm going to have to move this thing because it's going to be weird. Because we can't see you. Hold on 1 second.
No problem. Well, it's just emphasizing that we are triumphant.
There we go.
And that's what our
I'll
vision
redo
should
that.
be, right? Like triumphant.
Exactly.
Good morning.
Good morning, love.
Dr.
So-
Garrett, we're here.
Yes,
It's no longer a goal. You've done it.
it's done.
It's done.
Yeah. And for all the authors too, I think it was a crunch. Because when I reached out to you, we were like, when are we going to get this done? And I said, this is where I want the deadline. And Nicole was like, we can do it. But we have to be on our game. And all these authors were on their game. You do this, this is my first time actually I've been a part of anthologies, a few times, but this is the first time ever actually leading one. So I don't know what the process looked like, but this seemed to flow pretty smoothly. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, it did. It was really smooth. And your authors, the authors here, were all so engaged. And that makes such a difference when the authors are engaged with one another. And, like the soldiers in the trenches, like we're doing this together, or linked arm in arm, human fence, like there's something that is so magical about that and powerful. And you have that with this Triumphant group. They are knit together in their hearts and their excitement. You can feel it I can feel it just holding the book. You feel it, you read it. But in our classes and the Zooms that we did, there was always not just excitement to learn, but an excitement to grow and to be part of something bigger than me. And I think everybody just displayed that so powerfully, Dr. G, as we went through this, that everybody brought their supply to the table. And they're all experts in their own right. And it's just so cool how it just all has ebbed and flowed, just organically bringing us together for such a time as this, It's so cool. And here we are at the launch of the book. And of course, every author here has brought in their supply, right? But Dr. G, you had this vision. And you're now standing in the manifestation of your vision. That must be just an incredible feeling for you. How does it feel? Tell us. Inquiring minds want to know, Dr. Garrett. How does it feel to stand in the manifestation of your vision?
That's hard to articulate, because it's I was saying just off stage this, I had this vision of these stories. And I was telling some of the authors who are about to come on, some of the featured authors, that they're right people. They were the right people for this first book, for this first. And it's not just a book. They're going to be able to speak on stages and share these stories. And these stories are crazy. I was just going through them, going, man, and how I'm relating to some of these in my own life, and just already being inspired by them to just keep on pushing on, right? Keeping up that good fight. And I just know what's coming. So having this first piece coming to fruition, and how it's falling or being laid out, and the stories that are there, it just makes me even more excited for the other aspects that are about to come. Because it's, and I've always been, hey, let's just change lives one story at a time. And this is really demonstrating what that is. I think some of the feedback from people who have read this already is like, oh my gosh, that story was so crazy. So it really is everything that I've imagined and more, and it just keeps getting better. And we had Dolly, my first mentor, right? Dolly, her statement was always, and it just keeps getting better. And I see that happening with this book and this movement and these summits. It's just going to keep getting better.
It is only going to keep getting better. And it's just been so fun to watch it all, weave together and come to this. And I want to say culmination, but I mean, when I say culmination, it's not the end, right? This is only the beginning. But, it's, you've come to this peak on the mountain. There's more mountain to climb, but we're at a peak spot right now, right? And it's because you said yes, Dr. G. You had a vision, and then we can have a dream, or we can work the dream. Mm-hmm. And you worked the dream, and here we all are because you said yes. It's easy to say no. Saying yes is a lot of fun, but I think every author here would say it's also work. It's also work, but it's worth it to have the culminating experience of this moment. And I was just looking on Facebook, and I see that we have all kinds of Facebook, and we have all kinds of Kindle links. So I'm just going to plug the book right now and say, we want you to have this book. We want you to get your Kindle copy right now. Get it, give it to somebody, buy it for a friend, because these stories are going to rock your world, change your life. But we also want to make sure that Triumphant breaks every record as a bestseller. We want everyone done because all these authors deserve it, because they're rock stars. And our visionary, Dr. Garrett, deserves it because he's a rock star. And this is not the end, it's the beginning. So get the book, send it to somebody. Why not, right? Why not do it, especially right now where you can, Nicole, what is the price of the Kindle? I'm sorry, I don't remember.
$199.
$199. You can change somebody's life. You can change many people's life. You can go get as many Kindles as you want and send it to these people, and then send them a text, give them a call, say, go open your email right now and receive this gift, receive this triumphant blessing that is going to change their lives. And then everybody can stay connected to all of these authors with all of their great stories. And you can follow them on Facebook and Instagram, wherever. Follow Dr. G and keep up to date with what Triumphant is doing next. Because our leader here, Dr. Garrett, you heard him say it's only going to get better, right? So go get the book right now. Go get it. And share it with somebody who needs it. Woo!
Absolutely. Yes. And if you happen to be watching this because it was shared from somebody's page or whatever, make sure you go find the Triumphant Stories of Inspiration page and join it, follow it, so you don't miss anything, because we're going to have so many things coming up as far as they're going to do a virtual speakers event and an in-person speakers event. They're also having an in-person book signing next Saturday. So if you're in that Colorado area, you want to come to that. Dr. G, you want to say anything about that?
Yes, we rescheduled it because it was Memorial Day weekend and a lot of the authors could not make it, and it's for the authors. So we're going to reschedule that to where we can get, more of the authors coming down, because I know Dr. Pamela wanted to come down, and Nicole, you wanted to come down. And there's some people, there's a lot of 5Ks and things that are happening. One of the authors has a booth. And so I just want to make sure that the authors can be a part of that. Okay. So we are going to reschedule that. That date is TBD, but it is coming. It'll probably be early June when that happens. So we'll have just a big celebration of the triumphant piece. And for sure, I want people to go to that page, because there's so much stuff that's going to happen that you want to stay in the know. You're going to want to do it. Just trust me on this. Again, I know what's coming down the pipeline. And like Nicole said, every week there's something new that just goes, holy crap, right? I said monkeys before, but this is just, it really is just gonna be, it's well, not, it is a thing, not gonna be, it is a
Right.
thing that is
Yes.
so, it is a movement, and it's so inspiring.
It
I'm
is.
so
May I just give a shout out? My dear friend Fulvio from the UK is in the chat, and he says he's already ordered his copy. So yay, Fulvio!
Yay.
Thank you, sir. And we're so glad that you are here with us today at this launch. May I ask one more question, Dr. G? Do I have time to ask a question?
Go ahead.
Okay, well, I wanted to ask it actually to Dr. Nicole. What has it been like you to publish, to project manage and publish this book? Because you do a lot of books for a lot of people. And I always, when I get to work with you on one, I like to ask you to tell us about your experience, because they're all unique and different. So yeah, just inspire us about what it has been like to watch this come to life, to come from like, conception to right here we are. What has it been like?
This one's been different in the fact that honestly watching Dr. G and his excitement has been the most fun for me. Meeting all these authors has been great, because there's just a different, every anthology I help with, they're just a different group of authors, right? And yeah, some of them flow in between, but I get to hear different parts of them. But this one is just so unique because of the stories that have come out. I've gotten to skim them as I was editing and as I was putting the book together. And the stories, and my husband's already actually interviewed a few of them for his podcast. And the stories are just amazing. But honestly, watching Dr. Garrett and seeing his excitement, because he's built very much like my husband. Like, it's like, okay, show excitement on your face. Be excited. And it's like, this is excitement. Okay, got it. But seeing him just like brighten while he's talking about it has been so fun. Because when I have those moments with my husband, when he's excited about something, it's just even though they don't like, have this big smile or anything like that, you can see it in their eyes, the way their cheeks light, everything. And that has been so awesome. And it gets me excited to do a book when the visionary is just so gung-ho about a book. And I mean, it helps that it's a whole movement. And I know there's going to be more books because he's excited about that, because there's so many stories. And the fact that when you do an anthology, there's 19 different stories in this book. So that's 19 different types of people.
Right.
This is going to reach. And because not everybody can connect with every story. So that's what makes, number one, anthology so fun, because they are so different. But honestly, this project, it's just been watching the evolution of Garrett and watching him just light up at every new thing that he's just dumbfounded about how big it's gotten. And, as it should, because his vision is just awesome. And so it's been so fun. And I cannot wait for everybody to meet these authors. Before we do that, if you have not liked or shared this live, please do, for all the authors. And like Dr. Pamela said, get your copy, please. We appreciate it. And do us a favor and go on and give us a review on Amazon, okay? So are we ready to meet some of these authors? Anything else you want to say before we start?
I have nothing. I'm excited for you guys to meet them.
He's so cute.
Like I said, these people are, their stories are so amazing. And so it's going to be fun for you to, when you get your book, read the stories, and you'll have more. You'll have the face and the personalities that come along with these guys. So I'm excited for you guys to meet them.
Me too. All right, so we're gonna get going, And so we're going to bring up our first featured author, which we have 6 featured authors. I don't even know how to plan. So we are going to bring up Mr. Rich Parsons. And we are going to do this. Give me 1 second so I can make this work. Swap him out with me, please. Yay, I get to hide. Hello, sir. We are so excited that you're here. Please introduce yourself to everyone. Tell us what you do, although some of us know. Just a snippet about your chapter, please.
Sure thing. Well, thank you very much. This really has been an exciting journey, and I'm just really thankful for Dr. G for bringing me into this and allowing me to partner and really just sharing this experience. So as mentioned, my name is Rich Parsons. I'm a retired military veteran, 27 years in the Air Force. And once I got out of the Air Force, I did a few things in the civilian sector, but really just I got into my own coaching business here in Colorado Springs, and I enjoy what we do here, and I enjoy the community that we have. And right now, aside from working as a government contractor, one of my big focuses is on running my magazine called Your Success Magazine, which everybody that's in the book has the opportunity to be in that. And we're going to have a special edition with just the Triumphant clan, if you will. And so I'm really excited about that. And much like Nicole, I also do book publishing, and really excited to see where that's going to go. A little bit about my chapter. When I mentioned to Dr. Garrett what I was going to share, he was like, "You have to do this." And so I can't give too much away because I need you to read the book and learn what it is that allowed me to triumph. And really, the gist of it is, as I joined the military, I realized that there was something within me that just wasn't right. And there were a few occurrences that brought that to light for me. And then I had to do the hard work of changing the way I thought, changing my mentality about things to where I could live a happier life and enjoy everything that there was without some of the negative mindsets that were holding me back from enjoying life. And I'm so thankful that I did, because I can honestly say that had I not done that, I don't think that my military career would have been as successful as it was. I would have missed out on opportunities to meet so many great people and to enjoy life with them once I got rid of the mindset that was holding me back.
Wow. That's really a powerful statement. And I think, Rich, so many people miss that there are mindsets that have creeped in over life and that become limiting beliefs that hold us back from what it is that we have been put here on this planet to do, and recognizing those, and then navigating the terrain of changing them and getting out of them and laying down new inroads of how to navigate life and think and believe is so important. And you in your chapter not only share your story, but you lay it out how to bridge this gap and bring change so that you don't have to continue to think limited. So, this to me, I'm like, Rich, you're everyone. You're every person here when you're speaking, because all of us have to do this if we want to continue to move forward and really enjoy life. That just spoke to me, like then you said, enjoy my life. Because I think a lot of people out there, all of us could put a hand up and say there's been times when we have not been enjoying our life the way we should. And that enjoyment is pivotal, and it's not based on things. It's based on what's inside of us, right? So that's really powerful. that you bring that up, and you speak from such incredible experience and wisdom. That's just awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. What an amazing gift you have here in a feature, Dr. G.
Yes. Well, and I've known Rich for a while, and the story that he decided to share. And here's the thing about Rich: like if you know Rich, this story, you don't know Rich until you read this story. When he told me about it, I was like, "You have got to be kidding me!" Like, because he's not the same person. And and I think that's part of the triumphant aspect, right? Is we make so many changes. We have to have that growth, and the growth that he went through. Like you can't see, but I have goosebumps right now because it's such a different story. It's something like we hear all kinds of interesting stories, and I've been, like I said, I've been a part of a few anthologies, and some of them resonate, some of the same kind of journeys, different stories, different journeys. But this one, it was so different from anything that I've ever read in any anthology that I was like, people need to hear this, because it's going to hit a different type of sector that I don't think that I've ever seen in an anthology. So yes, an amazing featured author, and what he's giving to all the other authors with the Your Success magazine, it's insane. So I appreciate Rich, and just so grateful that he's been a part of the project.
Thanks, Garrett.
That is so awesome. And I was watching the chat. So if you go to the Triumphant page, a lot of the authors are in there chatting with you guys. And it's so awesome to see some of your fellow authors saying about how they have read your chapter and how it's impacted them. So I love that. And I'm excited to get to know you more. And the fact that you get to feature the authors is so exciting. And I'm trying to move over because I know I'm behind the book. I'm going to change that too. But I haven't got to talk to you much, but you have called me once or twice for info.
Dr. Nicole, move the other way. Dr. Nicole, you moved behind the book.
Oh, I did?
Yeah, there you go.
On my side. On my side, okay, so it's because I mirrored myself, so I don't have to go backwards.
Now we see your beautiful face. Keep going.
That's hilarious. Well, because on my side, it's the other way. When I'm looking at it, that's I want to hide behind the book. No, I'm kidding.
No,
but when I got to talk to you, that was really cool, and I love that you're highlighting all the authors. So I'm excited to actually, honestly, with all the authors, I'm excited to actually be able to sit down and digest the chapters, because when I'm working on the anthology, I get to skim them, but I don't get to really read them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate you sharing your story. Dr. G, is there anything else you want to say about this wonderful man before we let him go and jump in the chat with everybody else? Put you on the spot. You're muted.
Let me unmute. I would say just follow Rich. There's he's doing a lot of good things. And there are other books that he's been a part of too, that some more anthologies, your deck of success, right? Yep. I think I was a part of that one as well. Great. Again, good stories. And Rich he just also brings the right people to help inspire and motivate others to find the success that they want. So follow Rich, follow the Your Success magazine, and just see what he's up to, because he's up to good things. All the authors are up to good things, and I think that's part of it. So it doesn't just stop with Triumphant. They're doing things out there on their own. So it's just as important to follow them individually as it is to follow the movement that Triumphant is. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, and I would like to point out that this is only the second time that I've shared this story in any way. I shared a condensed version of it at a John Maxwell conference and made it into the finals with that. But this is really the first time that the public will be able to really digest what my triumphant story is and how it can impact the lives of others.
Oh, that's awesome. We are honored that you shared it with us. And we appreciate it. And I don't know if we mentioned, so the title of Rich's chapter is Transformation and Triumph. So that gives you a little hint as to what it is. But, you know, all these stories are from what they went through to where they are now. So that's we like those kinds of stories. They make it awesome. So enjoy the rest of your day. And thank you so much for sharing a little piece of you with us today.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
All right. Hi, Pamela.
Hi.
I'll put Garrett there. We'll put him in the spotlight. All right. Next up, we are going to bring up Kristen Chadwick. Her chapter is Your Voice Matters. And we'll swap her out with Garrett. So introduce yourself, love.
Hello. Going after Rich is like, I don't know. He's like a warm cup of coffee or something. I don't know. He's just so, yeah, I would concur that his story was very different than I've ever read in these anthology type of books. And I was touched being, yeah. So I won't spoil it. Anyway, so I'm Kristen Chadwick, and I am a podcast coach and manager and producer and host. I do all things podcasting. I love helping women discover and use their voice to be seen, be heard, and be known. A little bit about my personal world is I live in the beautiful Colorado Springs here with Dr. G and some other fellow authors here. And I am a mom of 4 teenagers, which has been a wild ride, but I love every moment of it. Married for almost 20 years. And run my own podcast company with about 8 different powerhouse top charted podcasters, which is such a crazy, wild part of my story. So that's a little bit about me. And do you want me to jump right into the chapter and overview? Okay. So my chapter is all about really that story of becoming who I am today. And not to give it away, but a lot of mindset shifts and discovering who I really was called to be, and really peeling back the layers of lies that I had lived in for so long, and breaking through to a whole nother level of who God has called me to be. And I have loved being a part of this book and hearing all the triumphant stories and really understanding, like, yes, that is a triumphant story, to watch how God really pulled me into who I am created to be.
I love how you said not, breaking through or breaking out of the lies. That is so powerful. And how important, how apropos is that actually, that you would say that, and that would be part of your story when you are a podcast queen, helping so many people utilize their voice, get guests to utilize their voice. And your whole chapter is about your voice. And all of us have a voice, right? We all have a voice. But is that voice working for us or against us? And it all comes back to, what are we believing? And you said you have to stop the lies and start believing the truth. And then your voice can be used what it's supposed to be utilized for in the earth. That was really just powerful how you brought that through. Mm-hmm. And that's echoed magnificently in your chapter, Kristen. Thank you so much for sharing that. That spoke to me.
Absolutely.
Dr. Garrett, anything you would like to share about this beautiful lady?
Let me make sure I'm not muted again, because that seems to be a thing for me today. So I met Kristen for the first time. Just she was referred to me, and like, oh, I think Kristen would be a good addition to this book, which did turn out right, because remember there's mentoring aspects in Triumphant, and so she quickly became a mentor for the podcasting realm. But it was fun to watch this unfold, because in our initial meeting, she was talking about how she felt called to be more in the speaking realm. Like it's time to step up and do some more about her story. And I do love the aspect that she says is it's time to start telling, listening to the truth and not the lies. And for me, there's always been this thing that there's this true you, and then there's this imposter, right? And this the imposter that we bought into all these lies, and we're living that imposter life. And then when we can start shedding the imposter and then step into who we were created to be. I love Wayne Dyer is one of my favorite speakers, and his style of speaking, it just always resonated with me. And he always has this thing about, when we were born on just in this truth, right? But then we started we started to edge God out, and that's where this imposter starts to come into. But with Kristen's story, you start to see how she lets that God come back into her life, and how that shifts and everything goes to where she is today. And it is a very powerful story. So
Yay.
Yeah. And your when you did the session with all the authors about podcasting, it was awesome because I work with podcasters as well. And it was nice to see I was on the right track. Does that make sense? It was great. I'm like, okay, good. I'm helping. I do what I do in all avenues to help people. I don't, yes, you have to make money, but to me, it's just to get people to get their word out. And so I'm like, but I want to be able to do it the right way. So hearing everything you had to say, I was like, okay, good. I'm doing I'm telling people what they should know. And so, but it was so awesome to just hear you in your element. And I'm excited to see you up on stage actually speaking and out of your little box. And and I know that will be a huge step. But I have no doubt the way that you handled yourself just in the room, in the Zoom room, that you will rock that stage, no problem. So I'm excited to get to know you and all the other authors more, but and just watch all y'all shine. I'm so excited. So thank you so much. And you've already been active in the chat. I've seen you running. And I love that all the authors are in there talking to everybody and about all the other authors. So thank you guys for being so active. And thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you.
Oh, so fun. Thank you, guys.
All right. We'll see you soon.
See ya.
All right. I love that it defaults to Pamela every time. All right.
I do too.
Next. Yeah. Garrett's like, yeah, me too. Better her than me. Yeah, and she'll do a little dance for us.
I'll just entertain everybody. Woo!
I'm sure.
Okay, who's next?
Who's next? Next up, we have Mr. Michael Ashford. His story is titled, "Whose Story Are You Living?" I love that.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to the spotlight. Get rid of Kristen and put Michael up here. Go for it, sir. It's so good to see you.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. So my name is Michael Ashford, and I don't believe we were taught to communicate well. I think our education on how to communicate and how to actually bridge gaps and divides in conversation and dialogue was not something that we were ever really taught growing up. And so I'm a speaking coach, a marketer, a leadership communications coach, helping people bridge that gap, bridge those divides so that we can actually have conversations that solve real problems, that inspire others to action. That's what I do. And that's the path that I'm on. My chapter, though, is about the influences in our lives. We've often heard the cliche of you're the sum total of the 8 people that you're closest with in your life, right? That's kind of the cliche version of saying this. But what we don't often do enough is stop and take a step back and begin to ask ourselves a very important question that is the highlight of my chapter. I won't give that question away, but I'm fascinated by the moments in our lives where true, real self-reflection takes place. We don't do it often enough. We often are very outward focused, where we're looking at what other people are doing or how other people are affecting us. In those moments where we begin to go inside of ourselves and ask ourselves some really tough questions can lead to some major changes in our lives. If we don't, we often kind of get into this world of what's called the sunk cost fallacy, where we're believing other people's stories about us. We're believing what other people say about us, other people's plans for our lives. And we keep doing those things because we've put so much into it that we don't want to lose, quote unquote, the ground that we seemingly have covered. So that is what my chapter is about, taking a very personal story from my own life in how I got to this place where, as I said earlier, I'm helping people communicate better with each other.
Yes, you are. And you know what you said there that really struck me is the self-talk.
Yeah.
You know, like that, what you are teaching, yes, the public speaking aspect of it, but there's so much communication on the inside. And that is so prevalent in your chapter. And what better of a person than someone who does what you do for a living to take you on a deep dive within yourself to begin to look at how you talk about yourself, how you think about yourself, and to learn that art of communication with numero uno, right?
Yeah.
How
right.
are you communicating here? Because that is going to reflect everything out here. Oh, that is so powerful, Michael. Thank you.
I hope so. And as a former journalist and a trained question asker, that's what I do as a coach. Whenever I'm working with someone, is I sit back and I treat your story, I treat your life, your idea, whatever it happens to be, as if I'm an investigative journalist of that. Because we are so often, or so rarely, excuse me, placed in a position where somebody is truly and authentically curious about us without any outside influence. And that's so having that ability to just sit back and ask someone questions about their life, their ideas, their story, and hear that come out. It's amazing the stories and ideas, the unvoiced stories and ideas that come out of those conversations when people are genuinely asked curious questions about themselves.
Yeah. You make them feel unique, which they are, and
Absolutely.
totally special, which they are, and really highlight the greatness in them. And that is going to empower anybody to prosper.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I certainly hope so.
So awesome. Thank you so much. Well, I pass the ball to Dr. G. Catch.
Again, met Michael for the first time, was introduced to him, and like, hey, he'd be a good part of this project too. And he definitely has. Have some lot of people who have already spoken on stages and have been part of their journey in that aspect. And then Michael came in and everybody was taking notes. Like, oh, I learned so much from Michael. Just a very free giving. But I love what he was talking about here about this narrative, and in his story, it's just in the title, know whose story are you living? And I think a lot of people don't find the success that they're looking for because they're not doing the right thing. They're living, someone told me, hey, you should do this. And like, okay, well, I don't know what else I'm going to do. So I might as well just do what everybody thinks that I'm supposed to do. And I think it's interesting that when someone like Michael comes in and does start to ask these questions, and they're like, well, I don't know what I want to do. They start to find out, oh, I do know what I want to do.
Right.
I just have to change my belief around that and the way I talk to myself about that. So such an important piece, right? And again, this just goes to this one story of triumph is going to help so many other people become more in alignment of who they're supposed to be, of what they're supposed to be doing, as long as you ask the right questions. And so, yeah, Michael has just been just a godsend. Again, another, I keep saying this, but the right people for this first book, and especially in the featured authors, for those who are doing some of the mentoring on the back end, was just such an asset to all the other authors for sure.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the kind words, sir.
And I love when you were talking about when you talk to your your clients and stuff, the one thing that came to my head was you are letting them know they're seen and they are heard. And that is huge, because there's a lot of people that you talk to. And first of all, as soon as you start talking to them, they're trying to solve your problem, or they are finishing your sentences for you.
Yeah.
Based on what they think. And so the fact that you are a person they can come to and actually be them, and that you accept them for who they are completely, and you don't try to fill in the blanks. And that's why when I saw the title of your chapter, I was like, oh, I like this, because it's so true, because we fill in those blanks that we don't know with other people's suggestions, and you don't live authentically you. And that is huge. And I understand that. I did that for a lot of years. Finally not doing that, which is great. but I lived a lot of my life doing that. So I love that that's part of what you do, and that's your wholehearted goal. And I love that very much. So thank you so much for sharing that, and that you do that. I love that. And I can't wait to, I think I read part of your chapter because I was like so intrigued by the thing. I'm like, okay, I cannot get engulfed in chapters. I've got to get this book done. But thank you so much for being who you are. And thank you for sharing that in this book and on this platform. And I cannot wait to get to know you more and to hear more about your story. So y'all get this book.
Thank you, Nicole. And if I may end it with, just because of what you just said, my favorite definition of empathy ever was from a gentleman named Manu Meal. He was on my podcast, and he told me empathy is making the other person feel like they belong in that space with you. And if we can just take that approach to our conversations, to how we relate to each other, I think, and this may be pie in the sky, I think our world might be a little bit better place.
Oh my goodness. Yes. I love that. Yes. So. I need that on my wall somewhere. Okay. Yes. That's empathy would be a game changer in this world. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Michael, for sharing that. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll see you soon.
Bye, everyone. Take care.
All right.
Not me.
Got it. All right, I'll be big for 1 second. So our next featured author should be Amina, but she is not here. She is our featured author from across the pond. So she's on a different time schedule as we are, and I'm sure she just didn't see it, or I don't know. But anyway, I tried to reach out to her. So her chapter is called Triumph, Seeds of Legacy. And if she sees this and can jump on, great. Otherwise, you'll have to completely get her chapter to find out what it's about. But I'm sure, but it's amazing.
Yeah. Let's talk about her just for a second, though.
Yes,
please. Her story is pretty intense as well. And I mean, we've all known, the three of us known Amina for a hot minute, and she was I just wanted another person when I first started this movement. Amina has to be a part of it, and Amina is crazy busy. She has a lot of stuff going on. So she's Dr. Amina now. So Dr. Amina, the fact that she took the time to share this with everybody means a lot to me, because I know how busy she is. But it just shows the testament about her belief in this, the power of stories and what they can do for people. So I appreciate Amina so much for being a part of it, and whether she can be a part of this little aspect or not. Again, you're going to want to stay tuned, follow the Facebook page, because you're going to want to hear what she has to say for sure. So in the summits, when she is able to speak, just be ready for it, because it's going to change some lives for sure.
Awesome.
May I say something about Amina? Do we have time? Okay. Yep. Well, Amina, when you watch this, I love you. And Amina is someone that I'm blessed to call my spiritual daughter. And what she speaks about, she lives out. And when she talks to you and talks about empowering you and life change and all of that, she means it because she lives it. She walks the talk. And even when there has been difficult things in her life, her thought process is always keeping her in the space and the grace that she needs to be. And so when you're reading what she has written on her pages, just understand that, you know, from someone that has the joy of calling her a daughter, she actually lives it out. She practices the proverbial saying, what she preaches. An amazing woman. And so grateful, Dr. G, that she's part of your book here, that we get to share these pages with her. So thank you very much. I appreciate being able to say something and give her a shout.
Absolutely. And I know she calls you mama. So shout out to Amina. All right. Next up, and I've gotten to know this gentleman a little bit. We have Dr. Trunis Goggins. Oh my gosh, my brain is glitching. His chapter title is Play It Through. Let's move you over here. Hello, sir.
How are you?
Yourself. I am doing well. Introduce yourself and tell us a little about what you do and your chapter, please.
Yes, and I am Dr. Goggins as well, even though I will say this, and I say this every time we're together, my name is actually spelled correctly. It is Goggins. It's not Goggans. Just remember that all the time. So there you go. Yeah, my name is Dr. Trunis Goggins. I live in Asheville, North Carolina, originally from Buffalo, New York. I work as an educator. I work for Western Governors University. I also adjunct for Ivy Tech, Purdue Global, and Trine University. I also am a consultant for small businesses, and I have my own podcast called the 4 Ps Podcast, and I just released the book, The 4 Ps of You. And that is a book about the 4 Ps are not the 4 Ps of marketing. I am a business. And if I said I was talking about the 4 Ps of marketing, no one would buy it. So the 4 Ps of you are purpose, planning, passion, and persistence. And I do want to say that this book here, Triumphant, I want to thank everybody who allowed me to get involved in this book, in this project. This book is helpful to a lot of people, and I've got to read a couple of the stories already. I'm not finished reading the book yet, and they're very inspiring. And the chapter I wrote was actually very helpful in my healing, as well as opposed, and just writing mine was helpful in my healing, and then reading the stories I've read thus far has helped me as well.
What a way to bring the fire, Doctor. I love that. Like, you're giving us those 4 Ps, giving us this little peek into your chapter. I can tell, although don't know you very well, but I can tell that you are a man that embodies those Ps in your own life, and that reading your chapter is going to cause reflection for all of us to say, where am I at on that scale? Because the more we embrace what you're talking about, just the greater space we can inhabit to bring, God, the awesomeness of whatever we can bring such power into our lives and into the lives of those around us. So I'm so grateful that you're part of Triumphant and that you've invested into all of us and all that'll read this book by being one of the featured authors here. Just so appreciate you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Suppose it's my turn, and I won't argue here about the spelling of the name, but it is what it is. Love Trunis to death. We met just on some other projects, and when I brought Triumphant to his, hey, this is what I'm thinking. He's like, I want to be a part of this. And his stories, all of his stories, Trunis is a storyteller. If you ever heard Trunis speak, he has stories about everything. And how he tells them is he's just a fascinating individual. And the 4Ps, like if the people he brings on the 4Ps podcast are just right in alignment with the triumphant aspect, they've overcome some things, and they do it through these 4Ps. Another person I think that you should follow individually, he's doing great things, and a lot of that is about to come out. But his book is amazing, the podcast is amazing, and the story he has in Triumphant is even more so amazing. Sometimes it's hard to put things or articulate things into words, but Trueness has definitely been a blessing in my life outside of Triumph. And so I'm so, again, appreciative and grateful that he jumped on the project and has been such a major part of it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. And seriously, you have become a very dear friend of mine through all this time, Garrett, and I love it. So again, we will work together forever, I'm sure.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yay. Yes, and I've had the pleasure of speaking with you quite a few times. We're working on some other things together, which I'm excited for. And it's just our conversations have been awesome because we get off track when we're talking, which I love because it lets me get to know you more. We've talked about grandbabies, we've talked about all kinds of stuff. So I love that, and I love your heart. I can hear your heart when you talk. When we're just having a conversation. So I love that. And I cannot wait to just jump into other things with you and just get to know you more and to really get into all of the things that you do. So thank you, Dr. Garrett, for linking me up with this man. I am so excited to just go this journey with all of y'all. But I'm excited for what Trueness has got going on, other than Triumphant as well. So, and I'm going to have to start listening to your podcast, obviously, because I haven't that up. So I need to do that. And, listen to it just because I like podcasts during my day. So thank you so much, sir. And I look forward to speaking to you soon and getting to know you even better. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I'm going to put you here because we're going to talk about you. So the last of our featured authors is none other than Dr. Pamela Hinkle. And Dr. G said, well, you have to write if you're going to help me in the project. So, well, that's a given. So Dr. Pamela's chapter is Triumphant Through Mentorship. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your chapter? And you know what? Tell people what you actually do as well.
Oh, what I actually do.
A few of the things.
What I do. Who am I, right? Well, I just do whatever I can put my hand to help others. My tagline in life is to be the salt and the light everywhere you go. So whether I am helping people with their creation of a book, if I am helping them in a group coaching or mentoring environment, if I have the joy of being able to be speaking to a group of people on a stage or in a church or in a ministry, I just do what I like to say God has put in my hand to do. And it's worked well because I have been able to invest a lot of my life in helping others and to reach their potential that I believe is God-given. And so I'm blessed to be able to do that online with Living Word Christian Center. I'm blessed to be able to do that right here with Triumphant. I'm blessed to be able to do that through Purpose by Design as a podcast host. It's wonderful to be able to see people excel in what they have been put here to do. And so with that, my chapter is on mentorship and how important it is. And so again, without giving it all away, I just want to say this. It has become very apparent to me in my adult life that having mentors and coaches, but mentorship, somebody that has a heart for you, that is on the road in front of you, like when you're driving and you're looking at the road signs to see where you're going to go and how far you are to get to where you're going to be, to have that person in front of you that can be kind of that road sign or road signs to you, that has a heart for you, that sees the greatness in you, because sometimes we forget and we don't see it ourselves, and we need somebody to remind us of how awesome we are and the gift we are in this world, and that what we bring into this life matters. Your story matters, your voice matters, you matter. And mentorship is huge, and it has always been a part of my life. I stumbled into it in my early 20s, and I have kept it going. And it's amazing, because what I have learned is, as you rise to meet the vision that your mentor sees in you, then when that season perhaps is done, for me, my mentors stay in my life until they're no longer in my life, meaning they usually have graduated and moved on, transitioned on to heaven, and then I get another one. And it's always amazing. Each time the bar has been raised in my life, and it pushes me forward. And so that's what my chapter is about, is encouraging people to, number one, have mentors, have a mentor or mentor in your life, mentors, plural or single, but then become one. Because as people invest in you, you then should be that light and invest in others. And so mentorship is powerful for causing us to impact the world with greatness, with God's abundance. And again, it's on two scales: having mentors, being a mentor, and letting your life shine. So that's all I've got to say about mentorship. Get a mentor, get this book right now. Go order your Kindle, get your book right now.
All right. Thank you, Pamela.
No, I just love Dr. Pamela. I love you to death. I really do. We've been in so many different things together, and we shared a mentor, and we became mentors through that mentor. Well, I mean, you were mentoring before that, and then we started mentoring each other, and our stories, we uplifted each other in ways that there are certain aspects that I don't think I'd be where I'm at today if it wasn't for having Dr. Pamela in my life. So there's people that when you come into these projects, you're like, you have to be a part of this, because I know what she's going to bring to the table. And her mentorship within this project was key to a lot. Again, resonating with the authors, having them take notes and go, I've done this before, but how you brought that to light was a different perspective, and it just changed a lot of things. So I'm a very powerful woman, and I'm so blessed and again grateful for you to be a part of this. And we also will continue to do more together, but people just understand that her chapter is going to be another one that you're going to want to read, and an individual that you're going to want to follow outside of this of Triumphant, because she is an amazing woman.
Thank you, Dr. G. It is an honor to be a part of this journey with you. Thank you for inviting me in, not just to help and run alongside your vision, but to actually be an author in the book. I'm so honored. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
We all love Dr. Pamela. I love her too. I could go on and on, but I won't. I have way too much I could say. She is my friend. She is my business partner. She is my boss in some instances. It has been an honor and a pleasure to know her the last 12 years. So we've done a lot over the years. So, but we got to keep going. So, all right, that is all of our features. So we get to start with our next author up is Tabby, and I'm not going to say your last name because I don't want to say it wrong. So I'm going to bring Tabby up, who Dr. Garrett knows well. So introduce yourself, tell us what you do, and just give us a snippet of your chapter, please.
Hello, I am Tabby Halsrud. I work with people one-to-one from a relationship standpoint. So really helping cultivate the kind of relationship that we really want to have in life. My work is inspired, as my chapter is, by my own journey and struggles with relationships throughout the course of my life. I've had a series of maybe less than healthy relationships over the years. Have had a lot of surface level relationships that have just not ended well, or have not, brought the fruit that I would want from a relationship. And so I work to help other people bring that focus to their relationships, elevate them to a more spiritual practice, and really devote more attention and care to cultivating the kind of relationship they want. So my chapter is really an exploration of my own journey, the struggles I've had, the healing I had to do in that space, and the result that led to, basically, as for me doing that work.
And I can tell by looking at you that the results are there.
Thank you.
She carries it. So you want to read her chapter because she's being honest and transparent right here, going, global, like being that transparent, but also saying she got the results. And we can look at her and see, you can see she's glowing. You can see the confidence. She is speaking from experience. And what an impartation you have for anybody that gets near you. I can just tell that you're not going to leave them where they're at. You're probably going to start asking probing questions and all of that, and getting them to think. And that's all in your chapter. So here's somebody to connect with, because you want to have, back to that mentorship, you want people in front of you on the road. And look at this lady. You can see she's beaming. You can see she's had results. Why wouldn't you want her to be mentoring you through this chapter and maybe otherwise? Thank you so much for adding your greatness to Triumphant.
Thank you.
Oh, Tabby. So, we'll just be completely transparent. And Tabby is my partner in life. And why do I think it's important that you read her chapter? It's the growth in just a relationship aspect that I've had, knowing her before we even became who we are as a couple today. And I still grow. Like when I came into this whole situation of I just don't want a relationship. They never work out. And I know I had to do the growth, but even still, blah, 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 blah. And then I met Tabby, and we started having all the conversations, and talking to her opened up more about what the desires for a relationship that I did want. I actually did want something, and there was a belief aspect that I couldn't have that type of relationship, and Tabby opened that up for me as an individual. So what she talks about in her chapter and her journey, she's a very key person for people in fostering the relationships that they want, and through all kinds of interesting ways. And she's just a wealth of information in that, and her chapter is going to really unfold that for people and help them understand that, wow, and knowing what Tabby went through, if she can come out the other end and have a relationship and be in that part that I want, they can too. Again, that story of triumph is just going to spawn more stories of triumph. So and I don't say this just being biased, she is an amazing and another powerful woman in person that can help you on that journey. So her story it's up there with everybody else. That's just going to change lives.
Thank you.
And I didn't mention the name of her chapter, but it is Busting the Barriers to Love. And if that is not an impactful title, I don't know what is. I think you are a sweetheart. You just glow. You really do. And I'm excited to get to know you more as we go more into this triumphant journey. And I'm excited to actually get to read your story, because that was another one that I was like, I have to read this. But I was like, no, I want to read it. I don't want to skim it. I want to read it. So thank you so much for sharing your heart and everything in this book. And I have no doubt you have been amazing for Dr. G. So thank you so much, sweetie.
Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have Jade Smith. There she is. The title of her chapter is My Hope is in You. Go ahead, Annie.
Good morning. Good morning. I am really excited to be here and share a little bit about myself. So my name is Jade Smythe. I live in Colorado Springs, Colorado. I am a small business owner. I own a cleaning company here, and I take care of commercial clients. And my chapter is about my journey through childhood and a young adulthood to obtaining my GED when I was 40 years old.
Wow. Wow. What? Okay. Say that again, because I want people to hear that, like that, what your journey was from where to and to when. Say that again. That's powerful.
All the way from my childhood and young adulthood and the tribulations and trials that I went through to obtain my GED when I was 40 years old. So that is what my chapter is about.
I mean, that's powerful. You're bringing the readers along on your life story and camping on how you said 40 years old,
yes,
you had like a pinnacle moment that is never too late. And now look at you, how, just looking at the pictures, look at how beautiful it is outside. It's like, this is springtime in your life, like so much wonderful things happening. And because you persevered and you didn't quit, you didn't give up. Now you're a business owner. Like this chapter is so full of gold. You don't want to miss it, everybody. Why wouldn't you want to learn from a woman who has said, hey, here's the junk I went through, and here I am today. I don't even smell like smoke. Look at me. That's amazing. Thank you for bringing all of this to Triumphant. You were truly amazing.
Thank you.
Wow, Dr. G. Wow.
Yeah, with Jade, if you want to have an example of someone who has to overcome obstacles, Jade's your person. Like she's the epitome of just obstacle after obstacle after obstacle. And she has just that tenacity to just and never give up. And that shows, right? 40 years old and she got her GED. And I was fortunate enough to be there for that moment.
Yes.
Very interesting because we have a lot of intertwining stories of Jade and I, and when she graduated, I showed up to the high school that I dropped out of for the first time. When I dropped out of high school and ran away from home is where she had her graduation. So a lot of the stories that we go through, but you listen to what she had to do, and most people didn't have to go through that. And you look at that and say, man, my obstacles seem so this big to what she had to, the hoops that she had to jump through just to get the GED, just to become a business owner. And she did it and just growing and flourishing. So she's, her story is amazing.
Well, the opportunity was presented to me from Dr. G. He has just been an amazing guidance for me during this whole thing. It's because of a belief that he lent me that I was able to actually see that I have, a story that is worth sharing, and we all do. But thanks to him, he gave me this opportunity, and here I am now, a published author with amazing people in this book. The stories are just incredible. Go get your copy. But yep, I've just had an amazing ride, and to be able to share parts in this chapter that I haven't ever spoken out loud, so the public is going to get to see some real raw things, or read, I should say, that I've never shared. So it's just been a great opportunity to finally be able to let some of this darkness out, to shine my light.
That is so awesome. And I know Donato's already, my husband has already had you on his podcast.
Nope, not yet.
And you got to share. Yes, it comes out this week actually. So I'll send you your graphic. But you will. I'm so glad that Dr. G was able to pull out of you the things that you needed. And like you said, it's a healing experience. It really is. Writing just a chapter in an anthology can be really hard. It can be really hard. So that just gets the ball rolling.
Right.
And so I'm so glad that you joined us, and and you're enjoying the beautiful weather, which is awesome. I'm ready to get out and enjoy the weather too. So so thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day, dear.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Next up, we have James Bombi. Title of his chapter is Triumphant, a Journey of Faith and Innovation. Hello, James.
Hello, everyone.
Introduce yourself and your chapter, please.
Sure. Okay. My name is James Fomby. I'm so grateful and honored and just happy to be here. My chapter is about the journey of faith and innovation. And really, it's a chapter about my health journey that I went through. I lost 100 pounds. I was, there's a bit of a backstory to it. I was going through some health challenges. My mom was going through health challenges, and I was as well. And I was faced with this challenge. My doctor said, you've got to lose 50 pounds, which seemed daunting at the time. If I think about like 100 pounds, it's like 2 50-pound sacks of feed on my shoulders, carrying them every day, and I can't put them down. I'm carrying this weight around. And so it was just about this journey, going through and changing my habits well, to start off with, I was with my mom, and she had just gotten a port in her heart for chemo because she was going through lung cancer. And I made a promise to her I was going to do something big, and I didn't even know what it was. I had prayed about it. I prayed to God, and he pretty much led me on this path. And I ended up losing 100 pounds. I wrote a book about it, and then I'm sharing the story in Triumphant because I feel like it's a pretty great story, and it can inspire somebody. So that's my story. That's what it's about. So I'm really grateful to be here. I feel privileged to be here. I'm so grateful for Pamela. I call her my coach, my counselor. She's just illuminated my path to success on a lot of these things I do. And then Pamela, and then Nicole has, with her publishing company, helping me publish it. And I got to meet Dr. Goggins through Pamela and be invited to this anthology. I'm just so grateful to be here, everyone.
Oh my gosh, James, you are amazing. Talk about a triumphant story. Like, you live it out. And I can speak to that because I know you personally. Like, everything that he's saying is true, and he lives the dream because he does the work. Yeah, if you do the work, it works for you, and he does it. And you are just an amazing, glorious story, a glory story. That's what you are. And I'm so grateful that you jumped in and brought your passion, your peace, your story into Triumphant. Because I tell you what, just knowing your story the way that I do, it empowers me to hear your voice, James, just to hear your voice, because I know that you walk the talk and that you are leading so many into their next best them because you've embraced your next best you. You're amazing. Thank you so much for joining Triumphant. I toss it to you, Dr. G.
Yes, thank you for taking the jump. I know Pamela and Nicole know you very well, and the book that you wrote, again, it's cool that these people came in, because there's things that are going on outside of Triumphant, but they're bringing that in here. And the book that he just published, like literally just published right when he jumped into Triumphant. The story it's going to resonate with people in ways that it's really what I wanted Triumphant to be, is hitting in all these touch points and different aspects of people's lives. And James is just one of those people. It's just one of those key elements to this anthology, and to be able to touch people and understand that, there's things that he went through that other people are going through, and can find the triumph through it. So I'm, again, all the authors, I'm so appreciative. I feel like I'm going to say this to everybody, and so grateful that they took the leap and they jumped into this, and are sharing so much about who they are, these personal details of what they had to go through, so it can help others go through the same.
All right. Yes, James, you're riding on a high, but when we started Triumphant, I was so glad to see you jump in to this. I mean, you were on it. When you saw the author call, you're like, yeah, I'm in. So I was so glad that you jumped into this to share a piece of the story that you had literally just published, like Dr. G said. And, helping you publish that was awesome. But I love that you're just finding every avenue you can to share your story, and people are going to love it. And yeah, I love your story, and just being able to publish your full story was awesome. So every time you get to share it, I think it's amazing. And I love having, every time I get to chat with you is always fun. So thank you, James, for jumping in on this and sharing your story even further. Thank you so much. Here's the book. Yay. All right. You have a great day, sir. I will talk to you soon.
Sure. Thank you all so much. I appreciate it.
All right. All right. We're going to keep plugging. The ones that can't make it, we'll circle back to. Our next up is Alana Turtle. I love her last name. Where's she at? There she is. Unmute yourself, love.
Here I am.
There you are. Introduce yourself and tell us about your chapter, love.
Well, it would be remiss of me not to thank Dr. G. I was introduced to this entire experience through Pamela. But first of all, thank you for creating this platform for us, for those of us that have what feel like smaller voices that we're growing. So I'm really grateful to be here. You'll hear this a million times, and don't let it ever get old, please. It's wonderful. Don't ever let it get old. It's going to be an amazing experience. And Dr. Pamela, thank you for being so persistent to get me here, because it took a little bit of convincing to feel safe to share my voice and to even be sitting in this particular position on a public call of this fashion. So I just want to start off by saying that. So my name is Alana Turtle, and I am from Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. Woo! So across the border. And my journey has basically brought me to being an energy worker. I mean, there's lots of titles to it, but that's essentially what I am. And I'm an energy intuitive coach. I'm a Reiki master, a medium, an animal empath. So I basically just work with energy. And I wake up every morning with the intention to empower others to feel more whole, to, recalibrate themselves, to just restore their equilibrium. So that's essentially my goal, and I do that through the modality of Reiki, through angel card and oracle card readings, through fairly recently intuitively coaching, so that they can foster for themselves an easier path, so that it feels more smooth, so that it's just more fulfilling. So that's essentially what I'm doing now. And my chapter, this has been said, I think, once or twice by a few authors, it really became a new narrative for me. So I don't even think I expressed in this, what I shared in this chapter, to anyone else prior to actually writing it down. And so just a quick little snippet. So it's essentially describing how the amazingly strong bond I have with my mother, and how her death impacted my life, and how I basically went through my own death to discover who I am sitting in front of you today. And, you know, it really is an ode. It's like an ode to an emotion that people generally perceive as being seemingly painful, and that's grief, right? I would say that I am more in a position to be so grateful to grief today, because you can take such a powerful emotion and use that fuel, like that fuel, to ignite first the battle, then the education, and it enables you and empowers you to step into who you are, which is your purpose, and, you know, to help people find their innate gifts and tools that they have within them. And to I feel like, you know, I feel very strongly now that, you know, gifts are meant to be shared. So here I am sharing these gifts that were ignited in me that I had laid dormant for many, many years. So that's what this chapter was able to do for me. And my husband, who is also part of my narrative, said he never really truly understood how I was feeling until he read the chapter, because I had never truly expressed it to him. So, because I didn't know how until my words hit the page and out it came. And it was extremely healing experience to write it down, even in a short form. It was like, oh my God, is that what I was going through? Oh my gosh. So anyway, this platform is a fantastic way for people to dig into their own persistence, I would say. So I love the 4 Ps because they are integral. They're integral to stepping into who you are. And so I'm just incredibly grateful to be here and share this with others, really, you know, and that's where I'm at. That's what I do.
Oh my gosh, Alana, I'm so excited that you're here. And I just really believe, Dr. G, that this is a launching pad for many, but that for you, Alana, this is a place where you do take center stage, and it's time for your voice to be launched and to reach out to so many people that you can empower. And there's one word that I would use to describe, well, there could be more than one, but I'm just going to use one word to describe Alana, and that's gratitude. If you get close to her, you're not going to be able to have any other mentality or words coming out other than gratitude. Even if you're in a stinky situation, she is going to show you the more excellent way and to how to begin to come out of it and see the good and find the good and be highlighting that. And it's just amazing to watch you walk in a place where, like, you are just coming into a closer walk with God, and a closer just into like just taking in what you were put on this earth to do. So I'm so excited that you're sharing here for you. I'm excited for your chapter to change people's lives, Alana, because your story, I know it well. It's amazing. All right, Dr. G, that's what I had to say for this incredible lady.
Yes, and I'm so appreciative too, Dr. Pamela, that you were persistent with her. And it may have taken some convincing, but Alana, you said something where, you know, the small voices, they're strong voices, and it's when you relinquish the control that you were trying to have. You know, I don't know if I can, I don't know if I do. It just comes out as just a powerful voice, and your voice is very powerful, and your chapter is going to change the narrative of others. And so I am grateful that you did take that leap, because it's that strength in numbers at this point, and your story is so different. And yes, everybody else had the same thing about this change in narrative, but that's really what it's all about. It's when people are going to read your story, they're going to go, oh, I need to that narrative for myself needs to change, and they understand the journey and the path that has to happen. So I am so grateful that you took the leap, and you came to Pamela's persistence and just did it, because it's I'm anxious to get you on the stage and really let people hear how powerful your voice really is.
Yeah, thank you for allowing me to be here. allow myself to be here, I suppose. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Yes, Pamela can be very persistent, and it's just best to give in. I've
Yeah.
learned.
It really works out.
It does. Yeah, it's just easier.
Yeah.
The title of your chapter is Beyond the Veil of Grief, Discovering Purpose Through Loss. And I love that. And, you know, it's amazing how the things we go through can help us figure out what our purpose is. And it's not always an easy journey to figure out your purpose. Some people find their purpose really easy. And some of us have to go through some stuff to get there. But I love that. I love that Dr. Pamela pushed you to share your story. And I think it's just the beginning. And I know we're working on a few things together. And I'm excited to get to know you more and to actually get the time to read. Like everybody else, I've said this to everybody, to actually have time to digest the chapter. But from being able to meet with you, you have such a sweet soul. And I love that about you. And your honesty, which I love. So you are a sweetheart. And thank you so much for sharing your story in the book and for jumping on today with us. I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. And thank you to all the other authors for being so vulnerable.
Yes.
Because vulnerability is truly a strength that can be an amazing tool for others to use. So thank you.
Yes, it is. Thank you, honey. All right. Next up, we have Michelle Marshall. Whoop. Sorry, I went to click on her and she slid over on me. There she is. Can you introduce yourself and what you do and your chapter, please?
Yes. Good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle Marshall. I hail from New York City. It's cloudy here today, so I'm very envious of the good weather I'm seeing from other people. I am an IT professional, and I'm also a freelancer where I train customer service skill sets as well as event planning, event coordination, a cornucopia of things. And I am just so honored to be part of this project, this movement. As Dr. Garrett eloquently stated earlier, I became part of this project through Rich Parsons. And I'm so thankful that I listened, and again, to be part of this. And my chapter is really about overcoming unworthiness and coming to a state of self-acceptance and being empowered and exhibiting self-love toward myself. I again, without giving too much away, it was really, as with other authors, this is the first time I put to paper the accounts of what occurred in my early youth and in my 20s, of what really planted in itself with me of seeds of unworthiness, and how I overcame that and became a perpetual student of self-empowerment and self-improvement, and what I used in order to thrive and continue through my journey today. So again, just putting it to paper and then putting it out into the world. These were stories that once upon a time I shackled to myself as shameful. So now to release that hold of it and putting it out into the world, and to show not only to myself, but hopefully to anyone who reads it, that we can overcome whatever adversities are given to us or thrown to us, has been very fulfilling for me. And to read the other stories of the other authors that are involved in this fantastic anthology is incredible.
I love how you talk about overcoming with such passion, and that you had been really daunted or plagued with unworthiness, which can be such a death sentence in so many ways, but it doesn't have to be if you learn that you don't have to stay there. That's not the highest and best for you, and that there is a way out of it. And it's one thing for somebody to say, hey, you don't have to be unworthy. You don't have to feel this way, right? It's another thing for someone to say, follow me as I have already walked out the path. And that I can identify with you. I know how you're feeling because I've been there. And now I can show you a different way to trek through this so that you can come out on the victory side. Looking at you, looking at the confidence that you are oozing. It's like, what? She had a problem with feeling unworthy? Come on. No, I think she's felt like she's been confident her whole life. What an example to follow, y'all. You want to follow Michelle, you want to follow her because she has come out on the other side again. I'll say not even smelling like smoke. She is come through this and can show you the way out. So read her chapter, reach out to her, get this book, follow her, and let her story empower you. Thank you so much, Michelle. It's empowered me just looking into your eyes today and hearing your voice. It truly has. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Wow, Dr. Nicole, what do you have to say?
Well, we've lost Dr. G. I don't know where he went. He
back.
disappeared.
He'll be back.
He'll be back. Yeah, no, I love that you put your heart on paper. And it is not, like we've said several times today, it's not an easy thing to do. And I'm grateful to Rich for bringing you to us. And I'm so excited to get to know you more as we go through the Triumphant movement and to hear you speak and everything else. You've been a voice in the chat and everything. So I know that you're going to be an active participant. And I love that. The ones that are active participants make me excited. So here he is. Let me pop him back up here. I think he's here. He's trying to be here.
No.
But there's Dr. G. We lost you. I just wanted to pop you up here real quick in case you wanted to just say anything about Michelle before we let her go. If you're there.
I think you're
having problems connecting. Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll have him fill in the blank later once he gets connected. But thank you so much for giving us your time. And we will see you again soon on other platforms. Thank you so much, Michelle. Bye-bye. All right, we only have a few more left. It's so exciting. So next up, we have Ashley back. Bring her up here while Dr. G gets connected. Hi, Ashley. Go ahead and introduce yourself. And your chapter is, I've lost it. Tell if you know your chapter title. There it is. The Edge. Nope, that's Catherine. I skipped. I don't know. You tell me your chapter title.
I will. Hi, my name is Ashley Batts from Colorado Springs. The chapter is Love and Life with the capital L, from mundane to magical. First, I just want to give a testimony to how powerful this movement is. So how I got involved is there's a gentleman around Colorado Springs that's very popular that everybody seems to know. And he has a Facebook page called To Be Encouraged, which tends to draw beautiful souls. Well, Dr. G had posted something on that, and it was so profound. I don't even remember what it was, but I have never done this before, but I direct messaged him and said, I just really feel like I want to meet you. And he messaged back, okay, where do you want to meet? I said, let's just go to the local coffee shop. And so he met me there. I didn't even know what he looked like. I knew nothing about him. I just knew I needed to meet him. And he comes and finds me, and we sit down, and he goes, okay, why are we here? I said, I have no idea. I just need to meet you. And he goes, okay, let's start talking. So we started talking, and we actually determined there was another reason. But after we figured that out, he said, actually, my passion project is Triumphant. This is my baby. This is what I'm so interested in. And he said, I'll send you a link. And I said, great. And I thought I would just look through it, and that's nice. Learn something about somebody else, because he was very impressive to me. And then I opened it up, and I was just mind blown. I said, wow, I need to be a part of this. So I signed up very quickly, and I'm just so grateful for this opportunity. like some of the other authors, just having to put things to paper was so illuminating, and you just learn so much, and it was so healing. And I just, I heal stick. And as much as I know, there's just so much more to learn. And this writing this down really helped me with this. And just as some of the authors, things that I've never told anybody or never dealt with out in the world are now in print out there. Things my family doesn't even know about me, my kids. So it's really brave for us all to do this, because these are things that have been hidden for decades that are now being put out there. So that's what my article is about. And I was like, wow, I've been through a lot. I have a lot of different things that I can speak to, and I feel like it's time. Many, many different topics. And actually in the last 3 weeks, I've gone through a major life crisis. So now I'm having to go back and read my article to help me move forward from this, the hardest one I've had to deal with. And I've had quite a few. So I'm so grateful to have this. And as my life has been completely upended, and I get to decide where it's going to go from here, reading all your stories is going to really help me to know my new direction, which is completely unscripted. So it's to be determined. But I'm grateful for this opportunity and everything everybody's done, all the hard work. And Nicole, I listened to you. She said to wear orange, gray, and black. So I did listen. Thank you for everything. Here is so coordinated and makes so much sense, and so much work has been put into it, and just so much appreciation.
Aw, Ashley, what a beautiful story that you have. And I love the boldness that you walk in to just reach out to somebody and reach out to Dr. G like that and be like, we got to meet. And just, you followed those breadcrumbs of faith, and look at where it landed you. Here you are today with us. And I'm so encouraged, because if that's the quality person you are, that you would follow those breadcrumbs and land here, I can only imagine the fullness of everything in your chapter, because I've touched on it. I'm excited for the fullness of it and how that's going to empower so many other people that are going through stuff in their life that isn't that great. And yet they have an opportunity to follow the breadcrumbs of faith and end up in something amazing, even alongside of something not so wonderful happening. We do get to choose, don't we? And so you made this choice, and here you are. Gosh, that is so powerful. Thank you for taking time to share that, and not just share a little bit about your story, but tell us a little of your backstory, because it makes your chapter so much more empowering, that how it all came to be. So thank you so much. Dr. G, are you back with us?
I sure hope so. I've been having some technical difficulties, but I think we're good. And yes, I did. Our meeting with my meeting with Ashley was unlike anything else I've ever experienced. But there's definitely a journey that we were meant to go on together, and Triumphant is just the beginning. And I think it's important too that she had mentioned that she went through something. Her life got turned upside down, and she went back to her story. And there's, one of our higher faculties is just this, our memory, where we can go back and look at the things that we came through. It gives us that strength and the power to say, I can go through what I'm going through. If I went through that, I can go through this. Right. And that's so powerful, even for the book of Triumphant. Others, we can go back and reread all these stories that we've been through and say, okay, cool. And look at what everybody else is going through. But, Ashley's journey is just beginning. There's so much more that's about to transpire for her, and I was so excited that she came on board, and am equally as excited to know again what's coming down the pipeline and what we're going to do together. She is an amazing individual, and I just am ecstatic that she was a part of this project.
Thank you, everybody, so much. I look forward to all the things we're going to do together.
Yeah, thank you, Ashley. I love the chapter title. As soon as you started saying, I'm like, yes. Um, yeah, I love you guys' meeting story. That is awesome. And I love that Dr. G, you just rolled with it. That's just your personality. You're like, okay, here we go. Yeah, so thank you so much for jumping in. I mean, yeah, anybody that read what Dr. G had to say, he had this whole thing about Triumphant and what this was. And if you got this chance to read it, I think you had to jump in. Unless it just wasn't the time. I mean, like I said, there's so much more coming down the road for Triumphant. And I'm so glad that you jumped in when you did and that you shared your story with us. So thank you so much. And I look forward to getting to know you more. And yeah, have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Dr. Pamela had to leave us, so I'm going to finish up. We only have a few authors left. It's crazy. So our next author up is Catherine Romero. Hello, love. Nice to see you again.
See you.
Go ahead and introduce yourself and yeah, tell us about you and your chapter.
I'm Catherine Romero, and I am an esthetician. I work in the beauty industry, and that's kind of what was the spark of my thoughts of trying to mend relationships with women and have better relationships with women. I think we're a little bit hard on each other, and so I thought there was some room in there. And then I started writing my thoughts on my hikes, and that's how Dr. G found me. And he reached out to me and said, hey, I think you should try doing memoirs. And I was like, okay, yes, because I had missed an opportunity a year prior to that. And so I wasn't going to miss it again. And I jumped on it. And then from there, he was like, hey, I think you would be good for this. And I said, yes, again. And that has been like my new theme. Yes, I'm going to try that. And I think Dr. G gives a beautiful way to live out your dreams and lets you believe that you're more than just what has happened to you, and what your voice has to say matters to someone. And what a beautiful way. And I want to say this too, like listening to everyone's stories today, how beautifully weaved we all are in the same theme of life, and how fitting it all is. And you did such a beautiful job of choosing people, or the universe bringing people to you, Dr. G, to have that theme over and over again.
I love that. And I know you've already been on Donato's thing, and so I've heard a little more of your story. And the title of your chapter is To the Edge of Darkness. Yeah. But I love that you started with women being nicer to each other.
Yeah.
And it is so true that women can be the hardest on women, on other women. And the fact that we can judge other women just by looking at them. Mm-hmm. And you don't know where they're coming from. I think in your interview, you were talking about being in traffic and having, other people driving by them. And you don't know, somebody cuts you off or whatever. You don't know, are they on the way to the hospital? Are they, you don't know what the circumstance is. Yeah. But you can get so irate with them. You don't know them. Nope. They don't know you. They don't know you're yelling at them from the other car. But we're so hard on other people without knowing their circumstances.
Yep.
And I love that about your heart. And I've got, like I said, I've got to hear more of your story through the podcast. So I hope everybody has the chance to read this and just digest what you're saying in it and takes it to heart that we just really need to, like Michael was saying, have some more empathy for other people. And you mentioned how everybody's stories has just kind of woven together. And it's amazing how I think every anthology I've worked on, that's just happened. And it's kismic how it just, everybody's story just kind of like they flow.
Yeah.
And so I'm so glad that you are here. Dr. G, what do you have to say, sir? You're muted.
Man. Yeah. So Kat, yes, I met Kat. I followed. We actually went to the same high school together, the one that I dropped out of, and all that kind of fun stuff. So, so I think that's how we got connected on Facebook. But I started watching her thoughts on a hike, and she has such a way of saying things and a following of people, and so memoirs, a lot of people don't know what memoirs are, but memoirs is another speaking platform that's here, that we have going on here in the Springs, where people just share a memoir of their life. And I knew Kat she had a story. Like, I didn't necessarily know what the story was at that time, but you just don't post the things that you post on Facebook and not have a story everybody has a story, but I feel like some are called, and you just don't do what she's been doing and not see that there's a calling in her life. And I always go to Joseph Campbell, he has this thing called the hero's journey, and the part of the hero's journey is to answer the calling for that journey and be that person. And so the fact that Kat just said yes to everything, she's answering that call. And there's when you read the story, buy the book, read the story, you'll understand what she's bringing to the table. And I am very grateful that she took the leap and said yes, and that she's saying yes to all the podcasts and all the things. She messaged me towards the middle of this, and she's like, I'm saying yes to all of it. And that's what we need to do. And I think if more people said yes to those callings and sharing these stories, the more stories, again, giving other people permission to go through the things that they're going through and to overcome those and find the triumph, they will also share those stories, and becomes, the mentors become like Pamela was saying, right? We have the mentors, but then we become the mentors. And that's really the goal, I think, for Triumphant, is for everybody to say, all right, now it's my turn to go and encourage the next group of people to come on and share what they're going through. So, Kat has just surpassed, everything that I thought that she was. You have that intuition. I had that intuition, and there she goes. She's just taken off. So, another inspirational person for sure.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm excited to see what comes, and excited to start on my own book. And yeah, I'm ready.
Yes, that is awesome. Yeah, and I love that you're all in.
I am.
If you're gonna do something, do it all in.
Exactly.
Yes, I'm so excited.
Thanks.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Catherine, and enjoy the rest of your day. And we will see you soon.
Bye.
Bye, honey. All right, Dr. G. Next up is Alicia Nolan, and her chapter title is The Life I Choose. Whoops. Where'd you go? Everything moves on me when somebody exits. The life I choose to live, and live is spelled L with a semicolon, VE. And I don't know if you have your shirt on today, but it is on the back of the book. Well, no, it's not on the back of the book, but your picture, it's on. There it is. Okay, good. I love the shirt. So tell us more about you and your chapter, please.
Absolutely. My name's Alicia Nolan. I'm actually retired Army as of today. So it's a little bittersweet, but it is providing me an opportunity to have more time on what my purpose is now. I own a nonprofit, Aiden's Adventure 5K, which is in memory of a little boy who was 5 years old. We raise money in his name with an event every year, and donate proceeds to Care and Share Southern Colorado and Catamount Institute, both located in Colorado Springs. I also own Choose to Live, which is dedicated to raising awareness of suicide prevention and mental health. I design and create my own apparel and products, and 10% goes back to suicide prevention. It's donated to Pikes Peak Suicide Prevention Partnership, which is located in Colorado Springs. As far as my chapter, so this is the second anthology that I am fortunate enough to be a part of. The first anthology that I was in, The Hands They Were Dealt, I spoke a lot of my healing journey after my wife died by suicide. And it's just a lot of my mental health challenges and what I have chosen to do um, with that horrible experience, and what I'm doing now. The chapter in this book, Triumphant, I paint a picture of an event with that occurred with my late wife before she passed away. I'm hoping that this particular event kind of gives insight to other individuals on what a mental health crisis might look like. And seeing those signs, I'm hoping to have people kind of know how to reach out when they need to and get professional help for individuals who may be going through a mental health crisis. And this particular event, it was kind of the beginning of a horrible path that she went through. It's a story that I haven't told before, and it's another just piece of the vulnerability that everybody in this book is providing. I love this project. Dr. G has an amazing vision that I share with him in terms of sharing stories and the power behind it. It's incredible. It can be inspirational. Some of them are very hard to read, but you get so much out of it. Everybody's journey in this book is just so different and so powerful. I'm very much looking forward to this and all the future projects.
Thank you, Alicia. And your story, I'm trying to make my mouth work. That you centered it on that mental health aspect and the red flags that are out there that we miss. And that you shared really intimate details of what you went through, what she went through, and just so that you can get that out there to other people, that they can see those red flags in other people or recognize it in themselves, is so important because it's such a widespread thing nowadays. And I mean, it always has been. It just hasn't been in the forefront like it is now. It used to be ignored, or you just got called crazy, whatever.
Yeah, that's a big piece of it. It's just reducing
Yes.
that stigma.
Absolutely. And I love that you put your personal on paper because it's hard.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it was just another step in that healing process. And thank you for sharing a piece of your heart, the broken piece, I'm sure, of your heart with everyone. Dr. G, what would you like to say?
Interesting with Alicia, because we have been in the same space for quite some time. We have another author who couldn't make it today, Mandy Penn, connected Alicia and I further, but we had always been in little events together, and I knew a little bit of her story, but we never connected. And then a movement of her own. So even outside of Triumphant, Alicia is doing this movement with mental health awareness, and that's the suicide prevention. And it's steamrolling for her. And when we finally got a chance to connect and share our vision with each other, it was definitely a mutual fit. And Alicia's story, she's done 2 anthologies and now, and I think we talked, and hopefully she's going to do it here in the next month or so, is about to write a book of her own, just a solo project. And I am crazy excited for that one because, again, we answered this call, and this Alicia is answering that call, and she's doing it in a very profound and a very powerful way. So her story in Triumphant is powerful. Her story in The Hands That They Were Dealt is powerful. So like I said before, all these people who are part of Triumphant are doing great things outside of Triumphant, and you need to follow them and just be a part of that. For some, Triumphant's the catalyst. So it's going to be like Kat was saying, she's going to do more, but Alicia's already doing, and there's so much out there that people are going to want to be a part of. So I am so blessed to finally have her more part of my life, not just Triumphant, but my life in general. So she's an amazing person, and I can't wait for you guys to read what she has here for her story.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I was going to ask when the book is coming out. So I'm glad that you're going to expound and take it further. And I also want to link you up with a couple other people that do. I have a podcast that I help with that focuses on teen suicide prevention. So I will make sure I reach out and give you their information so that you can link up with them as well. So thank you for sharing your story. I cannot wait to read the book when it comes out as well, love.
Thank you.
So have a great rest of your day, and congratulations on your retirement. I know that is a big shift in life.
Yes.
So, but kudos to you, and thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Next up, I kind of know this person, just a little bit. So he's traveling. So hopefully he looks like we're looking up his nose. But this is my husband, Dr. Donato. Introduce yourself. Hopefully your feed is better than your picture, honey.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Well, I'm Dr. Donato Parisi. Thank you, Dr. Garrett, for having me in this book, being a part of this awesome movement. I can't say how excited I am about it. It's when I heard about it, and Nicole was talking about it, and I might have overheard one of you guys' conversations and stuff with Dr. Pamela as well. And something was just always stirring in me that I've got to be a part. I got to be a part. And then and it kind of probably last minute a little bit, but I just made sure that I was a part of this, right? And I want to encourage everybody else to get out there to get a copy of the book. Like my website here, Donato Motivates, that comes from my show, Get Motivated. And that's just one of the many things that I do, for a podcast and stuff. My wife mentioned I'm traveling today. I'm actually in Vancouver, Canada right now. So I do many things, pastor, we have the company together and whatnot. But in my chapter, I talked a lot about mindset, or that was my theme. And it seems like that was a lot of people's themes here, was mindset, right? We got to get past all this negative stuff that happens in our lives. And, there's not much we can do sometimes to avoid these things from happening. It's what we do when we're going through them, right? And mindset has a lot to do with it. The space between our ears, I like to call it. And it's just, we get programmed from an early age what to do, how to think, and all these kinds of things. And some of it's good and some of it's not so good, especially if we listen to all those lies and then start to believe them, right? We gotta change our perspective. We gotta change our mindset. We gotta change our attitude. Attitude has a lot to do with things. And, so I talk about that in great detail, about just turning our minds around and some of those walks in my own life, one of the things is like, I knew who I was in Christ, but I just, put certain things aside thinking, God's done with me because I got to a certain age. I can't be used anymore, or whatever else. And that was so not the case. And, now I'm a pastor, right? So God can use you. You just got to open yourself up, right? And that's kind of the thing I just want to encourage everybody today that's watching this, God's not done with you yet. There's still a purpose, there's still a plan, and he's not done with you. And like many other people have been sharing, our stories, our testaments, our triumphs, right? They're meant to help other people after we've gone through them. Hopefully they won't have as hard of a time, and we can build up and we can encourage one another. And that's kind of what it's all about.
Yes, that's so good. And you've gotten to interview a couple of the authors, and probably will interview some more. And yeah, I mean, we, like you mentioned, we own DMP Enterprises, which is part of the publishing. We do a lot of other things, websites and whatnot. But being part of this project for both of us, myself, I was going to write, and I'm just like, I just can't do it. I'll jump in the next one. But this project itself, we had to be a part of it, whether it was through the publishing, being part of the speaker platforms, whatever. We just knew that we had to be a part of this project. So I'm glad that Donato got to write in the book itself. And we are both very excited to just be part of the whole process and a part of the movement and stay connected to every one of these authors. Dr. G, anything you would like to add to that?
Yeah, Dr. Donato said that he jumped in a little late, and I say he jumped in right on time, right? Because he's in the book. He's one of the last few authors, but when we and he's saying like most of the authors were talking about the mindset, but it's interesting how it starts to wrap, like many have said in here, it's like these stories are interwoven in what they look like, and it starts to tie all these things together about the things that he went through in life and how that mindset shift happened, and really focus on understanding that there is, there is a change in narrative, there is a change in the mindset, there is all these things. I love how he, and gives some of it away, right? He opens his whole thing that we all have a story of triumph. And I think that's important to just kick off, because we all do. We've all been triumphant in some form or fashion. And it's looking back and saying, again, we said this before here too, that if I've gone through this, I can go through that. And we all have that story of triumph. And it's cool how he brings that piece and ties in the mindset and through his journey and his stories of what that looks like. And it really begins to just, again, finalize what the whole book is about. So I say that he jumped in right on time, right when he was supposed to. So I appreciate you so much, Dr. Donato.
Well, thank you, Dr. Garrett. I appreciate you too, man. Looking forward to doing more.
Yep.
All right. Thank you, honey. And I'll see you tonight. But yeah, thanks for jumping in and sharing your piece with everyone else on here.
All right. Later. Bye, everyone.
Bye. All right. Last but not least, absolutely, is Miss Rachel Evans. Her chapter is My Power Within. Hello, beautiful.
Hello. Good to be here. I'm Rachel Evans. I'm from Eureka, California, which is a couple hours south of Oregon State border. So yes, my chapter is The Power Within. And the reason I chose that is because many times when you go through something very tough, traumatic, you find that power that is within you. And so my chapter is about an event that turned into another event that turned into the end of my marriage. And it tells the story about how I packed up and moved away. And I don't want to give it all away, but it was not an easy thing to go through. And I went through some shame and all kinds of stuff. But the the result of it was obviously who I am now. And it wasn't an overnight thing. It actually took me quite a long time to figure out what true forgiveness is. So I talk about that in my chapter, and finding my own self-worth and being able to love myself fully. And many of the other authors mentioned the mentorship, or getting a mentor. And so mine is, it talks a little bit about that, like finding that mentor that you resonate with, because oftentimes when you're stuck or you're finding the same results, you don't know how to get out of it. So finding a mentor is really important. And then I feel like once I found that mentor, then you start building that little tribe around you that you can always reach out to those people for support, and you can give them support. And it's just a little tribe of comfort, comfort and empowerment.
That is so important though, because you need those people, because you can only do so much for yourself. You can only listen to so many podcasts or sessions or whatever on your own and lift yourself up so much. You need those people around you. That's why I love this movement that Garrett's created, because I think that it's going to be a tribe of its own. It's going to be a lot bigger tribe. But I love the fact that you talk about that having that tribe around you, because it is important to have that core of people that you can trust, the people that will call you on your stuff, the people that, that have the call you on the carpet status, that if you're like stepping out of your normal or out of your what they know is where you want to be, they can go, what is this doing for you? Why are you doing this? Why are you stepping into here? This has nothing to do with what your purpose and plan is. Why are you doing this? And can double check you. And then you can go, oh yeah, you're right. Or you can give them a really good reason as to why you're doing it. And then they can jump in with you, So it's so important to have those people that support you. And I know Dr. G is one of those type of people. Dr. Pamela is for me. I have, a very small core tribe of my own. And I think it's so important to have those people that just step beside you, and they don't fix your problems. They don't tell you what to do. They run along with you, but will check you if you need checked. And
yes.
they
throw out those questions for you that make you stop and think, oh, yes, you're right. I didn't think about that. It is
so important. Well, and if you don't have that in your life, you're just going to go waving out into nowhere land and up a paddle without, you're gone and out in the middle of the ocean and you don't know where you're going. So that's never a good thing. Dr. G, what would you like to share?
So let's just touch on what she said a little bit about we can talk about the mentors, but she's the first one that brought up this group of people. And I feel like that if it wasn't for the mentors and the group of people, honestly, because it was, with you and Dr. Pamela, that was my group of people that started to bring this thing to fruition. Right. And Rachel came in. I think you're probably, you're the last in the author, so that means you're the last to really jump in. But that kind of signifies, again, this whole thing that every author in here, and we're not done yet. So the book is done, but we as a group of people are not done yet. We're going to become even closer, and we're going to have more of this tribe that's going to help us elevate to just that next level. And it's amazing that Rachel said that, and it's her journey through this divorce. There's some realizations. So there's again these cross ties, these things. So my realization, and when I first got my first mentor, I was going through my second divorce and blah blah blah, right? So there was like that catalyst, that piece that, okay, well, what about me, where I can start focusing my change and what needs to change within me, so that my external circumstances can be what I want them to be. And everything changed from that moment. And I think that's an important piece, that whatever the catalyst is, and there's a lot of catalysts in throughout this book, but whatever that is, the journey, and you can going through that and finding the mentor, finding the tribe, finding all those pieces, those pieces that help us become triumphant. And it's an amazing thing to say through all these stories, and especially how Rachel is bringing this in, is it's saying this is a journey that you have to take, but you don't have to go it alone, right? We're all in here with you. And that's an important message that she's portraying in that. So again, I'm glad that not last minute, right on time, right? But I just thank you so much for jumping in and being a part of it.
Well, I'd like to thank, so Alana is one of those in my tribe. And so she's the one who told me about this opportunity. And she said that Dr. Pamela was the one who told her about it. And so, it took me a little bit to get to the point where I'm like, okay, yes, I want to do this. I knew it right away, but I dragged my feet a little. So thankfully I didn't drag my feet long enough to where I missed the opportunity. But I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to be expanding my tribe with you all. So thank you, Dr. G, for putting this together, and Nicole for everything that you have done. So it's been a exciting, eye-opening journey. Yeah. So, and something else I want to say too, like when all this stuff happened that I wrote about, I kept things because I wanted to write a book on it, and I put it away because way back when, because I didn't want to hurt anybody. So Dr. Pamela actually helped walk me through how to write this, and I feel better about it because it's just a chapter. It's just a little chapter.
But you got to get it out. And that's what's important. People don't realize how important it is to get that out, and what a healing process it is just to write it down. Even if you don't publish it, just getting it out is huge. And just writing the words is so healing. That's why a lot of people journal. I mean, just writing it down can be huge, but actually telling the story is a whole nother level. So I commend you for doing that. And I know that Pamela worked with you a lot on that. So thank you so much for sharing your story and wrapping up our book. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you both. It's
been a pleasure. All right. Thank you. So Dr. G, we had a couple people, and I'll be nice and level us out here. We had a couple people that could not join us. So you mentioned Mandy. If you want to just say a little blurb about Miss Mandy that wasn't here.
Yes, Mandy, the growth in Mandy it's been huge from when I first met her, but her journey started long before I met her. And her story talks about where she was and what she went through, and a lot of the things to be where she is today. And where she is today it's insane. The growth I've seen in just the past 2 years of who she is, because we talk about this hero's journey, and she'll never call herself a hero by any stretch of the imagination. But when she starts to talk about the things that she went through, she is that. And she's the one who, she did her anthology of The Hands That They Were Dealt, which is, the stories in there are just as powerful. So she's taking stories and doing things on a whole other level. So her journey is again another inspiring one. Who else didn't make it? Let me look at this book that I have right here. We have the author.
Dr. David did not join us today. I think he's the only other one we're missing.
Yeah. So Dr. David Ammons, he's a storyteller.
Yeah.
Another guy that you're gonna, like, when I first met him, I'm like, I don't, your story is not really what I would have ever imagined type situation. But
Yeah.
I met him through Trueness, and just another guy who has a great story to share that's going to just help people move right along with where they want to go in life. And just that other puzzle piece for this whole book of tying everything together and covering all the bases on how we can help others be find their triumph and just be triumphant on their own.
Yes. Well, thank you. I want to first thank all the authors that came on and chatted with us, but I want to extra thank them because they have been so active in the chat for the live stream, and that I love because I do a lot of these, and a lot of them come on and do their time on the live and then they're gone. So I want to commend the authors for being so active, and that just tells you how excited they are about not only this book, but everything that's going to happen. So I am so excited for the book. If you have not gotten your Kindle copy, or get the hardback, I'm a book person. I got to have pages. I'll read the Kindle if I'm out and gone somewhere, but I like pages. Get your copy. The Kindle links are all in the description of the live, so you can go up and grab those. Get your copy of this. You won't be disappointed. Chapter after chapter is going to, you're gonna want to read a chapter and then think about it. You're not going to want to just blow through this book. You're going to want to really, like I keep saying, digest these chapters, because each individual story is just astounding. And you've met most of these authors today, and none of them look like what they've been through. Yeah. That's what always gets me, is when I meet certain people and then they tell me their story and I'm like, okay, would not have expected that, but okay. So that's what I love about doing anthologies and people getting their stories out, is being able to share it. And Dr. G, your heart for this project and the reason you wanted to do this project, I love the most, because your goal is to get to people to be able to share their stories, not just in book form, but to be able to speak and get their stories as far and as out as possible. And I love that about this whole movement. And I just want to give you the opportunity to wrap us up with anything you would like to say before we're done.
Well, I like how you said digest these stories. And in any story that you hear, there's a download thing that sort of happens. And you'll read through some of these stories, and some will resonate with you. Some may not resonate as much, but here's an interesting thing that happens with anthologies. It's that you read through them all, and then you'll go through something later on in life and you go, oh my gosh, this story, that one I read in Triumphant, I'm going to go back and reread that. And we heard that today with some of the authors themselves. I had to go back and reread my own story because I was going through something. And that's the amazing thing about anthologies, is that it's there for you. So when you do go through something, it goes, that reminds me of this journey that Alicia went through, or this journey that Alana went through, or this journey that Trueness went through. And you can go back and just get re-inspired, re-motivated, and re-encouraged to continue on. And like I said, the book is just the beginning. This is the foundation. There's so much more to come. So go to that Facebook page, like it, and follow it, and just know that the virtual summit, where you get to hear more. So you get to hear the stories, but in the spoken word, and which becomes even more powerful to see and hear the people who wrote this on that summit. And then the live summit's going to be here in Colorado Springs in February. So just so much more to come. It's not done yet, and every time I turn around, there's just more that's included. So I'm excited for it, and I'm excited for you guys, everybody, to be a part of it.
Yes, and I will also add that in the book, at the end of every chapter, is the bio of the author, but more importantly is contact information for each one of those authors. So if one of those authors resonates with you and you just need to connect with them, or you want to reach out to them, tell them how their story touched you, reach out to them, connect with them on social media, whatever you need to do, but connect with them in any way possible, because like Dr. G said, Triumphant's the catalyst for a lot of other things that these authors are doing. There's quite a few of them that are writing books. There's, starting other things. So you're not going to want to miss what these authors are doing from here. So thank you so much, Dr. G, for allowing me the pleasure of putting this project together for you and getting to know every single one of these authors. It's been an honor and a privilege, and thank you for giving us this time together to launch this book. I'm so excited. Go get your copy and connect with Triumphant on Facebook, connect with the authors and Dr. Garrett, and enjoy the rest of your day and find your own way to be triumphant. All right, y'all. We'll see you later.